Hello again, everyone. This is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage, and you are looking at part 2 of my mission to wake up a very sleepy Kenmore. Unusual to see a Kenmore machine this locked up. It has happened, but it's not nearly as common. It's usually the Italian machines that were built with such tight spacing between their moving parts that that's more common. Japanese-made machines, which this one is, along with the North American and British-made Singers, I seldom, if ever, have total lockup. Now, I've had stuck machines before in those brands as well, but this one is stuck like glue. So what I'm going to do, in the last video, I talked about, some things you can use to try to get machines unstuck, and then but that was for the underside. But remember, the mechanicals of your machine, if you work on one side and you think, well, why isn't it moving? I've done all this effort. You're not done. We're only halfway through. So I'm taking the lid off. Beautiful paint on this machine, by the way. A couple of nicks down here, but for the most part, it's rather nice. Now let's get in as close as we can, and I'm going to basically do what I did in the last video, but we're going to do it up top. And see a little more light here. There we go. What I need to do is essentially, you can see me trying to turn it. And again, I've checked my clutch my stop washer knob is tight and everything's good. And I can see just a bare bit of movement here. Is it possible you have thread? You always want to check, the area of your shuttle. I don't see any thread here, and you can get thread jams in any machine. You can get them around the hand wheel, over here on the drive shaft, and you can also get them sometimes in the needle area, but it's usually down below in the shuttle and the bobbin hook area. But I'm honestly, it would be very odd to see that in a Kenmore of this vintage. I just haven't. It's just very seldom that I get that. It is possible, though. All right, so what else are we doing here? I'm going to skip the step with the hairdryer. However, don't underestimate the power of a hairdryer, because they can be awesome and they can be a little more gentle. So don't discount it just because. But because of the level of stickiness here, I'm going to take, again, low on the heat gun is about 500 degrees. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm basically, you'll notice here, I want to get this moving piece here, which is, I've gotten it further up, and I'm going to come in, and remember, don't forget, right along this edge here, always look, is there plastic or soft materials before you start this? The cord, there's a cord that runs along the back on this one. It'll vary depending on your machine in terms of where the cord is. And that cord is specifically and only there to feed the light bulb. So do not heat the cord. You will melt the cord and you will be really unhappy and you will damage this machine, your machine. So again, I'm going to turn my microphone down. So what I've basically done is I've taken the same approach up top. Now I use the heat gun here, and there aren't as many areas up here with soft materials except for the one that I showed you, which is the electrical cord that runs along the back. Don't apply heat there, and you don't need it there anyway, and that would be very damaging to the machine. So now what have we got? Let's take a look. You saw me applying heat different places, and then I came over to the side and I applied. Now remember, inspect the side compartment of your machine. The only soft material is the cord, which is going to go down, and if I turn the machine so you can see better, you'll notice that the cord for the light comes here, and then it comes right down to where the light bulb is. Everything else in here, I came in at this angle with the heat, and of course there are lots of moving parts. I think I might even see a little thread remnant in here that might be stuck. Whether that's the cause of all of this frozenness, I can't say. It could be, but I'm willing to bet because it sat so long. We're dealing with stuck oil. I'm laying bets with that, laying odds with that. One other thing to mention: this machine is all metal, and there's a gear underneath. You can't see it. It's underneath this place where you put in your stitch cams, and that is steel, because the Japanese were still using steel. However, some machines, when we start getting out of the really old machines, some brands started using a plastic gear underneath. You don't see it, and the rest of it was metal. It can trick you. You can think it's all metal, but all it takes is one plastic gear, and if you apply a heat gun, you could really damage it. So again, always inspect. And always, you can start with the hairdryer and see. But again, this is a high wire act. If you're going to do this with heat, you have got to do your due diligence. You've got to be sure that there are no plastic pieces, because the machine will not forgive you. So now what are we going to do? I'm going to use, now that I've gotten the machine warm, let's try. Will it move? Tiny bit, just not much more than it has before. So we're still we're not even, I say, out of the woods. We're not even we don't even know where we are here as far as this goes. So I'm getting a pair of pliers or something really small. And what am I looking for? I am looking to try to grab a hold of what I believe is a thread remnant. Now this is tricky. This looks, if that's what that is, it could be dust. It could be just that I'm nearsighted. Who knows? But right here, right there, sticking out is something, and I'm going to tug on it and see. Thread is because thread can break on us. We don't always realize just how strong thread can be, and it can really cause havoc with a machine. Does that mean that this is the only issue? No. Okay. It doesn't want to let go. So whenever you have threads you're trying to get a hold of, let's get here's my, and if the thread is stuck, you always want to try to move the machine as you're gently tugging to loosen that thread. Of course, it's not easy to do because the machine is frozen. So I'm going to try it again. May have to get it longer, slightly longer. I need small pliers, but I need something long enough to actually get in here. You may not be able to see this thread because with the shadow and it's dark, but so I know I've got a hold of it. Let's see if I can turn it. Huh. Now, if I pull too hard on this thread, I'll break it. Oh, there it is. Well, I'm hoping that was most of it. Here you can see that's what came out of there. Is it possible that this was the cause of all the misery? Possibly, but if this machine starts to move really quickly after I get this thread out, then everything I just told you about penetrance is true, but in this case may have not have been necessary. But again, this is part of the the process of discovering what is wrong with the machine and how do I get it to run. Not easy. That's interesting. Seem to be more willing to go backwards than forwards. Now let's see if we can get this place that was holding the thread. Alright, I see that thread. A tiny little thread. I don't know if it will even show up for you, but I promise you it's here. Let's see here. With these thread, you have to be very careful. If you pull too hard, you just pull it off and then you've lost the thread tail, which you need to grab a hold of. Now I'm tugging, but not too hard. I don't want to break it. Well, let's see. Did I get anything out of there? Not sure. Okay, I'm still trying to... Yeah, there's thread. I've got a piece of thread and it's wrapped right around this piece right here. This is really it's creating issues. And it's interesting, I rarely see thread jams in here. Obviously you can have them. You're seeing it now. Now I got to figure out which way I'm supposed to be wrapping this thread. I don't want to wrap it around further. That's why I'm trying to go reverse, because I think I'm getting more length of the thread coming out by going backwards. Now, again, I can see I've got a lot of thread here, but I don't want to lose that tail. So I'm going to pull it, but go slow. Don't get in a hurry or crazy, or you'll end up losing the very thing that's helping you hopefully get rid of this thread. You know, I mentioned to all of you that it's rare that Kenmores lock up this tight. It can happen, but I don't see it often. It could be that it is thread after all. Okay, so I'm not going to come down underneath. You can't see this, but I'm going to come down underneath it to try to grab that thread as I move backwards. And I'm getting more backwards movement here, which is interesting. So now I've got thread popping up right here. There's thread above and below. So which way do you pull? Sometimes you have to go backwards and forwards, and you'll get a sense for which way the thread is wound around whatever it's caught on. This is a very this is one of those things that you literally you work on it and you play with it, and it's very iterative. You may try one thing and you end up trying another. So I am going to work to see how much of this thread I can get loose, and hopefully in the next video you will see it. So I am going to dive in and start undoing the thread basically the way I'm not doing anything different than what I've just been showing you. I'm going to take the pliers, and if you see, I think I can show this to you. I just got a hold of the thread tail, one of them, and you can see it here. I don't know if that's... Let me put the scissors behind it so you can see that the thread will show up more easily. Do you see that? There's the thread. It's black. It's very hard to see, but I can see it in this light. But just in case you can't, I just showed it to you. Part of it is, and where is the thread? What is it sticking to? It's sticking right there. And that is a piece that rotates, and at some point the thread got in there. It's very unusual for this to happen up here. It's usually down below where I see most of my thread jams, or over on the hand wheel. Anyway, thank you all for watching and being patient enough to watch me play with thread on a machine. And I will hopefully have better news in the next video on this machine to share with you, and then we'll see whatever I can get out. I will show you the evidence of my labors. Thanks for watching, everyone.